Yvonne van Dongen, I think, is one of the better writers, long-form writers in New Zealand journalism today. And she's done some great pieces on, free speech, compelled speech and other things. And we feature the latest thing published in the opinion section of the platform is called The Charity Industrial Complex. And in this article, Yvonne looks at how charities in New Zealand are used to essentially run businesses. Because when I think of charity, I think of orphans and food bags and stuff like that. But what Yvonne has found is that a whole lot of charities are really involved in what one might call cultural or political advocacy. But they use charities to avoid things like paying tax and to run campaigns which are all about political virtue signalling. It's a really good article, and I think the start of a look at something that is worthy of investigation in this country. I think we've talked on this program about the Waiparara Trust, Tusiata Avia and her racist poetry largely funded through charities which are actually controlled by the government. And it would seem to me that charity isn't in New Zealand, or charitable trusts are not quite what I thought, or indeed most New Zealanders think they are. So to discuss this excellent article, which I recommend to you, go and read. It's in the opinion section of the platform website and app. We are joined now by Yvonne van Dongen. Yvonne, lovely to have you back on the program. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, Sean. Thanks for that shout-out about the story.
Yeah, look, it's really interesting and something I know Ben and I have talked out a bit over the last year or more. What prompted you to start to have a look at charities in New Zealand and how they operate?
Well, with everything for me goes back to the kind of gender woo industry, and it's like a portal to reality or out of the left or something. But years ago, I was writing a story for the Listener it was 2020, no one had written about puberty blockers and the trans ideology, and in the end they scuppered it and made it a pro-trans article. But while I was doing that, I wanted to speak to a person at Gender Minorities Aotearoa. It's called Ahi Hongi. Now, Ahi wouldn't talk to me because he said it would be like a black person talking to the Ku Klux Klan. However, he told me that there were 7 people in the office, and I thought that sounded like a lot for what was really a fringe organisation. And I thought, oh, that's weird. But he wouldn't talk to me. So later on, I decided to look into it. I thought, how do these organisations really afford to continue? And when you look at Gender Minorities Aotearoa, I mean, it's small beer compared to some of them. They get about 450,000. But in 2020, they were funded by 2 Wellington City Council entities. But now there's a number of groups lining up to fund them. One is the Ministry of Health. Another one is Internet New Zealand. It's weird. They've got
they are involved in all sorts of strange stuff, Internet New Zealand. And they're a quasi-government body.
14 million.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't quite get it. I think it's curious, really. Then there's the International Trans Fund, the Tyndall Foundation, a Rainbow Wellbeing Legacy. That was money that the government ceded to this organisation I think it was in compensation for the homosexual men who had been wrongly accused of, before homosexual law reform. And another group, Te Puna Aoni, something to do with women's refuge, groups of violence. I don't know, but a whole bunch of people are now giving them money. And I thought, it's not what you think. I always, like you, I thought that charity was about knocking on doors, standing on street corners, desperately begging for money, making dollars go a long way. But in fact, it's an industry, and it's a whole web of organisations who all give to one another, and God knows how they get the money. A lot of it. And
are they involved in doing good works, or are they involved in political and cultural advocacy?
Yes, well, I think considering that the government deregistered, or the Charities Commission deregistered Families First for pushing propaganda, and I don't know what that was about. Maybe it was about their stance on abortion, but all the gender groups are pushing an unverifiable, unscientific dogma. And so if you're going to be consistent, you should actually deregister those groups, really. because it is just pushing dogma. It's not even supported by most New Zealanders. Poll after poll has indicated that New Zealanders know what sex is. They don't want this taught to their children, and they think it's baloney. So, yeah, I think a lot of it is pushing ideologies. Even the notion of all those ticks, the various ticks I listed that you could get, accessibility tick. In a way, it's kind of weird. It's a bit like the Middle Ages.
But let's have a look at Rainbow Tick, because they're a charity, aren't they? And they're run out of some Maori charity, a subsidiary of a Maori charity based in Auckland.
Yep. And they won't be paying tax.
But they're making a lot of money, aren't they, Yvonne?
Yep, they're making a lot of money. I can't remember. It's in the millions, isn't it? Rainbow Tick is doing really well. And they are the reason, one of the reasons, why Auckland did not get the Fantastic Beasts show at Auckland Museum. Because one of the staff members said, we might not, it might be in breach of our Rainbow Tick. I mean, this could have earned the city thousands, and it would have been a terrific show.
But these charities are actually successful businesses too. What does it cost an hour to get diversity training from Rainbow Tick? $750 an hour?
Yeah, $750 an hour. I mean, does anyone pay that? Are they that stupid? Probably. I don't know. I suppose if it's from one government department like the New Zealand Defence Force, they've had their accreditation since 2019. And so I suppose it's just coming out of the government coffers. So, yeah, they're getting paid really good money. So what do they get? Several million? Right now because they're now called under Kahui Tukaha, when they earned over 82 million. They probably haven't paid tax either, another not-for-profit.
Yeah.
So it's a great way of pushing unscientific dogma and escaping notice, really.
Yeah.
And
the other thing that strikes... Yeah, the other thing... Inside Out. No, talk about Inside Out.
Yeah, they do. They run courses at $750 an hour plus GMT for governments, agencies and corporates, and $350 an hour plus GST for NGOs. And their income is $1.18 million this year, with the latest accounts, which is quite sizable, given that they are pushing gender woo, gibberish, basically. Yeah. And I think really with this change of government, that's why I thought it's timely to write the article now. I think it's time that we all stop this giant game of pretend, don't you? I think it's time to stop. Yeah. It's just, let's pretend that boys can be girls and girls. It's just nonsense.
But the other interesting thing to me is that